now the fun begins. Joining me is Brian Kilmeade, Fox and Friends co-host and host of One Nation with Brian Kilmeade, and even the Brian Kilmeade radio show, my goodness. So, look I know there's a lot of gossip. Start with that. I hate White House gossip, by the way, because media usually gets it wrong. But, my point is, it's not about these people, who's a better communicator or message or who's up and who's down. It's about the failed policies of the guy in the Oval Office. His name is Joe Biden, and he is the problem.
I don't think there's any question about it. If you talk to people who happen in Afghanistan, the example you just brought up, the military people basically, and by the way, I don't give the military credit for this, when they get in front of Congress, they said, yeah, I recommended we stay. Yeah, that's not when I wanted to leave. Yeah, I would have picked up everything behind. No, I didn't want to leave civilians behind, but he's the president. Okay, so that's another example. The story that came out this week is interesting because NBC, a very friendly outlet, used to work there, and then you have 4 reporters working on it, and it isn't people, the Democratic Party is mad at the White House. It is within the White House there's a problem. The communications department walking back the president who doesn't want to be walked back. And the communications department says, excuse me, all I'm going to say on this is that not one time do we put out a statement about what the president said and have he not sign off on it. So he is upset that his approval rating is so low.
All right. No, right there. At no time does the communications department put something out that the president hasn't signed
Unless somebody's lying to us.
No.
Which is worse.
I work there. That is exactly how it happens. And if they did, whoever it would be, I mean, there's communications people, there's a press secretary, you got your economic spokespeople at the Treasury and the NEC, blah, 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 blah. All Biden has to do, and I've seen this a million times because I work for a very activist President Trump, is pick up the phone and tell them, you're wrong, don't do that again. One call.
Right.
So all this gossip is nonsense. He is the one. Point your finger at him. And then he's the one who agreed to these policies, Brian, that have failed, including Afghanistan. He's always $1 short and a day late in Ukraine, right? He's completely late. There's a story in the paper today, the Washington Times or Washington Examiner, the extraordinary record number of illegals coming into this country. They got new Census Bureau numbers.
He totally ignores it.
He sided against the parents and with the school boards and always with the union. He wouldn't invite Elon Musk to the electric car meeting, even though he's the biggest. He wouldn't even invite Abbott, the people who are making the baby food.
Right.
Well, I mean, what's up with that?
Well, a couple of things. What's important for him is optics. So he wants to show his fingers on the pulse of the baby food formula problem, right? But he invites the people over. Great point that you brought up about who's not there, Abbott. But what's more interesting is what they told him. He wanted them to say, there's no way you could have foreseen this. We never saw this before. Oh. Thanks for acting. But guess who shows up? They show him go, no, we told you when the whistleblower dropped the note in October that you found in the mailroom in December. In January, when the FDA came, we told the FDA that if this is going to be problematic for you. And the FDA said, well, we're just shutting it down. Meanwhile, private industry called up Target, called up Walmart and say, hey, guys, we're going to hit a very bad stretch unless you act. Start consolidating as much baby formula as you can, because if this place stays closed, we're going to be in a real problem. The president says, guys, great to see you. Tell everybody out there how I couldn't have known beforehand. And they told me the exact opposite. But yet nobody from the New York Times to the Washington Post, they were holding headlines that said the president caught with his pants down, again, embarrassed on his own photo op Zoom call, which is embarrassing, let alone to be a young mom who doesn't really have time to zoom around to 7 different places to pick up baby formula because their baby wants lunch as well as dinner in the same day.
Trump had a lot of these meetings. He invited companies and CEOs that he liked and that he didn't like.
Because he thought he could win them over, too.
Yeah, there's that. But it was very even. I mean, he'd come, you'd get the scheduling office would say, President wants this. Yeah. And, I'd get a note saying, who do you want to bring? Chris Liddell would get a note saying, who do you want to bring? That kind of stuff. Steve Mnuchin would get the same note. And we would bring people. And whether they loved him or not, we recommended they would come, and they came. That's all. It's real simple. You don't pick it out. I mean, these stories, they're hilarious, but they're also quite tragic, particularly the baby food story. So look at...
Can I just add to this? You know what's so great about that in business?
I'm gonna
180
keep you here
degrees.
for 20 minutes, Joe. All the time in the
It's
world.
fine. You know what? We're going to have to blow the break. Do you have that type of power? Because I don't have that power in any show that I have. I just wish I one day would have that power. But it's 180 degrees. So you bring your enemies or the people that have said some things about you, but you bring them into the table, this table.
That's
You know
right.
why it matters? Because the outcome matters. Personalities don't matter. And I come in all of a sudden, whatever you want to say about the President of the United States, he listened to me and he responded. I talked to a Tillman Fertitta who said, well, what do we have to
I
do
know
to
Tillman.
what's going on with the business? What do we have to do to find out what's going on with your workforce? You have trouble hiring people. Instead of finding out what a stat or a pie chart says, you ask the guy who owns 100 restaurants.
That's right.
And 100 casinos.
By the way, Tillman came to a number of COVID meetings where we discussed how the restaurant business, how could we help them.
And I'll give you another example.
That's how I met him, including famous. Doesn't he own the basketball team too?
Houston Rockets.
That's right.
During the
Anyway.
pandemic, the president had wanted to set up a committee to get how to get sports back going again.
Yeah.
Was this guy named
Yeah.
Mark Cuban was pretty critical of the president at
Yeah.
times. Do you know what he said? Put him on.
Yeah.
If he wants to help me
Yeah.
stand up sports out of the pandemic,
And he did.
put him on the council.
And he did.
And Mark Cuban was, next thing you know, he was helping out.
And by the way, Andrew Giuliani did a terrific job coordinating all that.
All the time,
I gotta give
for
credit.
all 4 years.
And I worked on getting the tennis U.S. Open going.
Right.
Andrew's.
Did
Anyway,
you put the roof on, or was that Dinkins?
no, that had already been done.
All right, that was good. By the
So-
way, I fully support the roof. The retractable roof, we should be allowed to play in August in tennis.
And by the way, American men, the kids, they're very good. But we were a little off target.
we've been down for
but
about
they're not
15
bad.
years.
So look at on the inflation front, they were 14 months too late, and now I don't think. What do you think? What are you reporting? You're working 24/7. God bless. This thing has fallen. The Biden inflation plan has fallen like a lead balloon, and the
Well, I thought about you.
policies were flawed. They won't acknowledge the real problems. Where they're, I call it the progressive policies, or Newt Gingrich calls it big government socialism. So I don't see where Biden goes from here. In other words, our Charlie Gasparino is reporting Gina Raimondo is up and Yellen is down and all that stuff. Maybe so, but that isn't the problem. Nobody knows who these people are around the country. It's the policies that are causing record high gasoline prices, and that ain't going to change. And let me add one thing. We are still today 1.5 million barrels per day of oil short of where we were pre-pandemic because they have thrown such a wet blanket over the whole industry. So if demand is up and supply in this country is down, and we're not getting much help abroad, and I don't care, we have it here, what do you expect? Prices go up.
Absolutely.
Now, why is that so hard?
Really? Because you're married to the green agenda, which I find fascinating, Larry. You've been to Europe more times than I've read about Europe, but I will say I'm just fascinated by the fact that Europe is giving up on windmills and don't like the look of the solar fields. They want their landscapes, even though they're trying now. They rather go get more natural gas and oil from Algeria and from other places instead of us in the UAE and begging them to do it. So a couple of things on that. He just iced out a lot of property over in Alaska. That would have sent a different signal. Number two is success leaves clues. So what you do is, if you're the President of the United States and if success is your goal, you go back to an era where inflation was high. How do we come out of that? You flooded the zone with supply, right?
I could help him with that.
And you would. By the way, you would.
I could help him.
And you would lower taxes, wouldn't you?
Lower taxes. I wrote
and
this.
He's raising taxes.
In my riff. He wants to. That's right. Although
on the rich and corporations.
His two high tax advisors apparently are going back to teach school, and I wish them the best of luck in college. But make the Trump corporate tax cut permanent, lower personal tax rates across the board, flatten the rates, broaden the base, simplify the code, a domestic spending freeze, deregulate everything, deregulate energy, certainly, but deregulate all business and industry because they put the clamps on business and industry. And finally, raise interest rates to stabilize the value of King Dollar.
How much on the interest rates?
12 months would take, okay? And at the end of that year, we would be back in business with 4 to 5% growth and 2% or less inflation. I've seen it done. I'm just drawing from history. That's my Kudlow plan, but it's not an original plan. It's been done, but Reagan did it. Trump followed it. John F. Kennedy followed it.
Right.
The Bidens are on the wrong track, and it's not about communications. I mean, I was on with Martha today, And my successor at the National Economic Council was on after me, and I said, it's not personal. I just disagree with your policies. They've got to change. But they won't change, Brian, so guess what? They're going to get whooped badly in November. The cavalry's coming.
And they'll have no choice. And remember, sometimes people get off to a bad start. Bill Clinton got off to a bad start. After Oklahoma gave a great speech.
I love your history, but they're screaming at us.
And what do you do when they scream at you?
I got to get.
You eventually have to.
I'll blame you, but basically, I'm going to have to say thank you, Brian Kilmeade. Catch Brian weekdays, Fox and Friends, and the Brian Kilmeade Show on radio. Oh, here it is. I knew we were missing something. And One Nation with Brian Kilmeade, Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox News. You're fabulous.
Well, thank you very much, Larry. I appreciate the invite.